The infamous Bataan Death March. In 1942, during the early months of World War II, the Japanese had overrun the American and Filipino defenders on the Bataan Peninsula in the Philippines. After months of starvation, disease, and constant bombardment, the defenders finally surrendered. What followed wasn't just a prisoner transfer. It was one of the most brutal war crimes in modern history. Tens of thousands of American and Filipino soldiers, sick, starving, and beaten down, were rounded up by the Japanese. They were told they would be moved to a prison camp. But there were no trucks, no trains, no aid, just a single order: walk. So they walked, for over 60 miles, in the tropical heat, through jungle and dust-covered roads, with no food, no water, and no rest. Anyone who fell behind was clubbed, stabbed, or shot. Some were run over by Japanese vehicles. Others were left in ditches to die slowly. And every step forward meant stepping over bodies that had dropped before you. Guards laughed while forcing men to drink from puddles contaminated with dead animals. Those caught trying to steal a sip of water were punished. Bayoneted in front of the others or left to bake under the sun, tied to trees with barbed wire. It wasn't just a march. It was an execution in slow motion. Some Japanese soldiers treated it like a sport. They tested their bayonets by stabbing through multiple prisoners lined up together, seeing how deep the blade would go. One American soldier tried to carry his injured friend. He was ordered to drop him. When he didn't, they killed the wounded man in front of him and beat him until he passed out. The march lasted days, some say 5, some say 9. The survivors don't always remember. They just know they kept walking. The road was lined with corpses. Sometimes the smell of death got so thick it clung to your skin. And when they finally reached the camp, what they found wasn't safety. It was another hell. Camp O'Donnell was overcrowded, filthy, crawling with disease. Men who survived the march died weeks later in those cages. Some never made it off the island. Some never spoke about it again. An estimated 10,000 people died on that march. Most were Filipino. Thousands more were permanently broken, mentally and physically. It remains one of the worst atrocities committed during the Pacific War. But it's barely talked about, barely remembered. Not because it wasn't important, but because it was so horrifying that even history books sometimes look away.